What if the legend of Custer's last stand hides a darker truth? A golden-haired general racing toward disaster. A battle that redefined a nation, and one survivor, a man with a past as wild as the West, who saw it all. On Yanks, Dixie, and Native History, we uncover the raw story of the Little Bighorn through the eyes of Charles DeRudio. Was Custer a betrayed hero or a reckless dreamer? Stay with us to the end because this survivor account might shake you. Smash that subscribe button and let's dig into history like never before. June 25th, 1876. The sun blazed over Montana's Little Bighorn Valley. The 7th U.S. Cavalry, under the daring George Armstrong Custer, was closing in. The mission? Strike a sprawling village of Lakota, Cheyenne, and Arapaho, led by warriors like Sitting Bull and Gall. This wasn't just a fight, it was a collision of dreams, American expansion crashing against native survival, and I, Charles DeRudio, was caught in the storm. I'm Charles DeRudio, born Carlo DeRudio in Italy, 1832. My life was no ordinary tale. Nobleman, rebel, even an outlaw who tried to kill Napoleon III, jailed, exiled, escaped from a prison island, I was a walking saga. By 1876, I was a first lieutenant in Custer's 7th Cavalry. Some, like Captain Benteen, mocked me as Count No Account for my bold stories and high-class ways. But Custer trusted me. That trust threw me into the heart of a battle that changed America. Let's step back. The Civil War, a decade earlier, shaped men like Custer and me. He was a Yankee star, a boy general at 23, charging through battles like Chancellorsville with his flashy style. I fought for the Union too, earning my place in this new land. Down south, Dixie soldiers carried the same grit into the West, many joining the cavalry. But by 1876, the U.S. was pushing native tribes off their lands, ignoring treaties for gold and railroads. The Lakota and Cheyenne fought back, seeing us as trespassers, not conquerors. That morning, near 10 a.m., our scouts galloped in with big news. They'd found a huge native village, about 15 miles off, along the Little Bighorn. The Indians seemed to be pulling out, ready to escape. Custer saw his chance. Maybe for fame, not just victory. He halted us a few miles out to map the attack. Custer divided his 600 troops into 3. Colonel Benteen led companies H, D, and K to shield our left, ordered to clear any threat. Major Reno took companies M, G, and A, where I was assigned, down the middle. Custer commanded companies E, I, F, L, and C on the right. Company B guarded our supplies. It was a risky plan. Some say too risky. Reno's group got orders to speed up. Move fast to the river, they told us 6 miles away. We crossed the Little Bighorn, boots soaked, and lined up on the plains beyond. Then the chaos began. We charged at full speed, chasing what looked like retreating Indians. But a dust storm engulfed us, thick as fog. You couldn't see your own horse's ears. Reno stopped us, yelling to get off our horses. We formed a firing line, our right side by a dry creek full of trees. The horses were hustled into the woods for safety. That's when the warriors attacked. Hundreds of Lakota and Cheyenne swept in, their war cries piercing the air. Bullets flew like hail. We shot back, holding ground for maybe half an hour. Dust, smoke, shouts. It was a blur. Then we saw teepees across the creek in a grassy clearing. Reno ordered us to cross and check it out. It was a trap. The teepees were deserted. Before we could pull back, 200 warriors charged, screaming, guns blazing. Our 100 men were pinned, outnumbered. Their fire was relentless, cutting us down. Retreat was all we had, but the creek and trees slowed us. I was at the back, trying to rally the men, when I spotted our guidon, our flag, left behind. I couldn't abandon it. That flag was our honor. I turned back, snatched it up, but it caught in the branches. It fell. I leaped off my horse to grab it, leading him to the creek's far bank. As I tried to climb on, a bullet hit my horse. He reared and ran, straight into the enemy. 50 yards away, 300 Sioux warriors aimed at me. They fired a barrage. Bullets buzzed like bees. Somehow I stood untouched. I scrambled into a thicket, pulse racing. Those bushes were my lifeline. I crouched, revolver in hand, ready to fight if they found me. In the thicket, I met two others, Fred Gerard, our interpreter, and Private Thomas O'Neill from Company G. They had horses. I was on foot. I said the horses could betray us. Drive them off, I urged. They wouldn't budge. I didn't wait. I crawled deeper into the dry creek bed, aiming to hide until dark. 10 minutes passed. Then gunshots. Women's voices. Lakota women. Singing. I peeked and saw a nightmare. 2 women were scalping a soldier, maybe not even dead. Others circled, chanting war songs. My stomach turned. I sank back, knowing I could be next. The women left, likely seeking other targets. I was alone, stuck in that creek bed. Then a crackling sound. Smoke burned my throat. The Indians had lit the woods ablaze. The fire spread fast, pushing me out. I crawled toward the creek bank. Then a voice hissed, "Lieutenant, over here." I couldn't see them, but the voice called again. I inched forward and found Gerard, O'Neill, and the scout, tucked in the creek bed. Gerard said he'd left the horses tied and trailed me. The fire was closing in, but then relief. The wind dropped, and a soft rain fell. The flames died down. We had hope. It was 3 p.m. Night was 6 hours away. We stayed still, barely daring to breathe. Warriors' voices drifted close. Hooves pounded nearby. Every noise felt like doom. I thought of my past. Revolts in Italy. Battles in Virginia. Would Montana be my end? I just needed darkness. At last, night fell. Thick clouds blocked the moon, perfect for escape. We slipped out, heading for the ford 2 miles south across open land. Gerard and the scout rode their horses. O'Neill and I clung to the horses' tails, dragged along. Gerard said if danger struck, he'd ride to Reno for help. That didn't inspire confidence. The darkness was total. We heard Indians heading back to their village, their murmurs faint but near. We reached woods by what we thought was the ford. Mistake. We backtracked, crossing the river twice. On the second crossing, 8 warriors loomed up. Gerard and the scout fled. O'Neill and I dove into bushes, my revolver ready. I'd go down shooting. The warriors didn't spot us. They chatted briefly, then rode on, assuming we'd all run. I called to O'Neill and we linked up, rattled but breathing. The fords were too heavily watched. Crossing was madness. We hid again, waiting for morning. At dawn, I heard splashing and hoofbeats. From the riverbank, I saw gray horses, men in blue jackets, some in white hats. Our troops! I saw a man in buckskin like Tom Custer, George's brother. Joy hit me. I stepped out and yelled, "Tom! Wait for us!" A war whoop roared back. Hundreds of bullets screamed past. It wasn't our men. Warriors wore our stolen uniforms, riding our horses. O'Neill and I plunged back into the bushes as shots tore through the leaves. We crawled, dodging fire. Warriors on a bluff saw us move and shot down. We ran across a 20-yard open patch to another thicket, hearts pounding. In our new cover, I saw 5 Indians nearing, 50 yards off. O'Neill and I hid behind 2 cottonwood stumps. I held my revolver. He gripped his carbine. The lead warrior was 10 yards away, in a line. I fired. He froze, then bolted with the others. O'Neill shot the second rider. The warrior fell, hands raised, dead on the grass. Another dropped nearby. The rest fled around the trees. The bluff's gunfire stopped. We slipped deeper into the thicket, eyeing warriors on the hill. Their sharpshooters lay flat, horses tied below. Battle noises raged, rifle volleys, soldiers' yells, native cries. Our cheers faded. The woods caught fire again. We crawled to a clump of mulberry trees where damp grass slowed the blaze. I stamped out flames with my gloves, making a safe pocket. Flames surrounded us, but they shielded us. Through the haze, I saw a warrior, 80 yards off, watching the fire. At 4 p.m., he fired 4 shots, skyward, a signal. A native voice shouted, repeating a call 4 times. Over 200 warriors rode away, crossing the river. An hour later, another signal. More left. By 6 p.m., the valley fell silent, save for far-off shots. We'd had no food or water for 36 hours. Worn out, we planned to cross the river at night, craft a raft, and drift to our Powder River camp. At 8 p.m., we forded the Little Bighorn, scaled the bluffs, and hiked 2 miles. I climbed a hill to scout. A fire flickered 2 miles off where we thought our men fought. Was it our command or the enemy? We had to know. We crept toward the fire, scaling hills, pausing to listen. Voices floated, too soft to place. A mule brayed, then a call. "Halt! Who's there?" It wasn't for us, but it sounded like our side. We edged closer. At 200 yards, I shouted, "Picket! Hold fire! It's Lieutenant DeRudio and Private O'Neill." Cheers exploded. Lieutenant Varnum, a fearless officer, rushed up, amazed I was alive. He'd thought I perished with Custer's men. My gut twisted when he said Custer's 5 companies were gone. Lieutenants McIntosh and Hodgson were dead. Our unit was in pieces. It was 2 a.m. I was too wired to sleep, despite 2 restless nights. Varnum and I swapped tales of survival. At dawn, I told the officers the Indians had moved out. By 8 a.m., we saw cavalry, scouts, and then a full force. General Brisbane's men, here to rescue us. Then infantry marched up, under General Gibbon. Those blue uniforms hit us like a wave of hope. When Gibbon and General Terry rode in, tough soldiers cried like boys. I owe everything to Private Thomas O'Neill. He stayed loyal, followed my lead, and fought like family. His bravery shone through. I'll always honor him, and so will our men. O'Neill's a true soldier. Charles C. DeRudio. What's the real story of the Little Bighorn? Was Custer a brave Yankee general, stabbed in the back by his own, or a glory chaser who doomed his men? Charles DeRudio's tale pulls us into the fire, but it leaves us wondering, was he a hero or a lucky show-off? And the Lakota and Cheyenne, they called this the Battle of the Greasy Grass, a fight to save their homes. Some today brand Custer a monster, no better than a raider. Others, especially in Dixie's old heartlands, see him as a bold soldier, failed by Reno and Benteen. Share your take below. Should Custer's name be erased from history, or does he deserve a statue? Whose voice matters most, DeRudio's, Custer's, or the native warriors who stood their ground? Like, subscribe to Yanks, Dixie, and Native History, and don't forget to turn on notifications. Let's keep this fire burning. History's alive, and you decide its truth.